From Las Vegas, it's Let's Talk News Now with Rick and Ella.
And welcome. Good morning. It's Let's Talk News Now. Rick Singer here along with Ella Robertson, Kim Smith, and a man who probably actually really needs no introduction at all, because he's so recognizable, Ron Futrell. Good morning, Ron.
Oh, my pleasure. Good morning to all of you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Pardon for guests, but that's all. Was I... Like, how many different people did you go through before you finally said, "Oh, let's get Ron. He's not doing anything today"?
It wasn't like that.
We were just hoping to get you on. I had to call your people. It was a long thing.
Base and finally made it happen.
Exactly.
Well, I think this is almost like a little bit of a historical moment. The two of you aren't together on the same place at the same time in the morning.
That might have happened once before.
It did happen once before. I'm very, very proud of a #1 morning show that we had back in the day. And it was, to work with Kim. No, it was so much fun working with her, seriously, and people will see her on TV as who she is, gorgeous, outstanding, wonderful.
Oh, goodness.
The content, though, is a little rough sometimes with the traffic in the morning, but she has nothing to do with that. But
it was just an accident?
To know her, yeah, just an accident. But to know her and work behind the scenes with her was a great pleasure.
I'd say the same for you. It's a big honor to have my first job and to be able to sit with you in the mornings. Pretty awesome to have you here. And you've been doing news and sports here in Las Vegas for how many years now?
100?
100?
100 years.
101 maybe?
No, it was. Well, I got here in April of '84. So I guess I don't need to say the month anymore. I can just say '84. That's that long ago. Mid '80s, I could even say. It was a fun run. It was 25 years of doing sports in town during the best time to do sports. No, I don't.
That makes sense.
Right now, to sports guys, I don't want to offend anybody. Well, I will offend them. But no,
that's what we love about this show. Say anything you want.
We had Rebel basketball at its prime.
Right.
Was great. The destruction of the program was an interesting story for anybody to cover. It was sad, certainly. Right. You had the rise of UFC, you had the building of the Speedway, you had the career of Andre Agassi, Mike Tyson, Greg Maddux, Randall Cunningham. I got to cover all that stuff here in town. So that was sort of, I'll call it the golden days of sports.
The heydays of sports,
I got to cover that,
absolutely.
and that was a great time.
That's the nice thing about when you've had a career that's been as prominent as yours. You have so many great stories to reflect on. And you got a lot of comparisons and analogies to make. So I'm going to ask you one right now. Obviously, the Miami Heat just won. They just won the NBA championship.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is this. Is the Miami Heat more like A, the Chicago Bulls, the dominant team, or B, more like the New York Yankees, the team that was bought?
Good question. With the Yankees, well, first of all, they're not like the Bulls.
Okay.
I mean, the Bulls, I can do this right there and go. They're just this right now.
Right, exactly.
So the Bulls had 6. They had 6 championships with Jordan. They don't have a Jordan. Nobody has a Jordan in the NBA this year. Were they a team like the Yankees that were bought? Yeah, Steinbrenner wasn't always successful with that Yankee team that he paid the big salaries for. This team hasn't always been successful. They've won 1 championship. LeBron finally has his ring, and congratulations to them. But there's still going to be some pressure, on them to get a fistful of rings, because what you mentioned is the watermark, the standard. Is what the Bulls accomplished during that time. I'm a Laker fan, so I like the 16 banners that are hanging from the Forum back in the day, but are now hanging from the Staples Center, so I'm happy about that.
And what is it you actually see then? You were mentioning something about some of the teams that you see in the West that are really going to start coming forward.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and it begins, all the talk in the West begins and ends with Oklahoma City right now. Their main 3. Do you mind us talking about
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking notes.
Good. Well, Rick, what you got there?
Let's lean in here a second. Okay,
what you got there, those 3 guys, Westbrook, just absolutely marvelous at the point guard position.
Right.
And Kevin Durant, who is the best big man in the league right now, who can play outside as well. And, of course, James Harden, the best 6 man in the league. And so they've got that core that's going to be there for a while. That's all signed, sealed, delivered. And they're 22 and 23 years old. Oh, they're babies.
Amazing.
They're just coming in.
They are babies. Yeah.
So Oklahoma City is going to learn from what happened this year, and they'll be back. They'll be back big time. And that worries me, again, as a Laker fan, that we're going to see OKC up there for a long time.
Okay, is this a transition time for the Lakers? Since you're a big Laker fan, are we taking a transition? Are we talking about, making it to the quarterfinals for the next couple seasons, but not really that big threat at the end?
No, they've got to make some changes in the offseason. I think their big 3 they've got to stay with: Kobe, Bynum, and Paul Gasol. They're going to stay with those 3 guys. Maybe look at a Dwight Howard, try to get him from Orlando. Wouldn't be a bad idea there. You've also got Deron Williams at New Jersey that's going to become available. Try to get him possibly. Ron Artest is a waste, seriously. And I know Artest, world BPs. Sorry. No, he's got defensively. He's a good player, but he's trouble on the team, and they're going to make a change there.
Everybody's got to have a last quick question I'm just going to ask you about is Kobe Bryant. How many more years can he play?
That's a good question.
Really?
Really?
I think he's got 5 more years in
Wow.
him. Will he be at his optimum for those 5 more years? I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy to say he's 32. So
It's crazy that you're considered old in sports at that young
I think
age.
he's got 5 more years in him.
Okay.
Sounds
like a plan. We're going to take a short break. In the meantime, go get your morning coffee. Get a chance to come back and join us. Also, visit our website, letstalknewsnow.com. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. And we'll be back in just a few more minutes. We're going to talk around. We're going to change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to talk a little bit about politics. What's kind of going on there? I'm sure you have a comment or two.
Let's go there.